You made it. Hey, fella. Guess what? You're panting. You need to go back to the truck to get some water. Look at you. Hey, champ. Hey, champ. How are you? Oh, my bud. Oh, I'm proud of you, fella. That's a long ways up, isn't it? And now you're up here. Now we're gonna go back down. Welcome to this episode, and today we are talking about boondocking, which is something that we had wanted to do all along. We left Boise and went to Brigham City, Utah, with the intent that we were going to go through Utah from north to south, and then we got distracted by what?
Well, we wanted to boondock, so I was looking up on the Dirt app about free camping, and years ago we went to the Salt Flats and we really liked it, and I found that there was BLM land just west of it.
Right.
So we changed our plans because we can.
It would have been easier for us to come down a different highway and saved ourselves about 3 hours of driving, but anyway, we got here, and I have to say I was really uncertain about what we were going to be running into. Ahead of this, we actually got a hold of the kids and said, we're going to be in this dispersed camping. We're going to check in every day. And I think in the back of my head, I was expecting us to be literally in the middle of nowhere with no services, nothing. And I thought, well, it'd probably be a good idea if we let the kids know where we were and we would check in every day. So this is where we ended up. So this is Silver Island Mountains dispersed camping, and it is desert, and I'm really glad that we were there at the time of year that we were there, because it would be very hot otherwise. This is the site that we ended up choosing, which was not too far into the dispersed camping area, and we got out and just sort of made the decision about where we wanted to park, watching where we could put the solar panels and that kind of stuff. I guess this is our first real endeavor into the whole concept of boondocking. We are at the Silver Island Mountains dispersed camping. This is on BLM, or Bureau of Land Management. So we are in Utah, and we are not being charged for camping here. They do recommend that you stay no more than 14 days. We're going to see if we can do about 7 days here-ish. We'll see how things go as far as the tanks are concerned. And that is really the thing that is managing our expectations, is how fast we fill up things like gray water and black water tanks. We brought in 50 gallons, 55 gallons of water with us, and we feel that that is probably going to be enough to get through at least a few days with this. Now, what's really nice is it is so sunny here. Everything is running off of solar power. We have the 2 solar panels. We are currently running our Starlink, so we have Wi-Fi, and I am in the process of making bread. So I have the Traeger, there's the router, and there's the power station. I currently have a couple of items that are being charged, and as far as power is concerned, we're sitting at 99%. I have 126 watts going in, an output of 141 watts right now. Now it just jumped up to an input of 199 watts. So basically everything that we are doing here is being run off of solar power, which is pretty nice. The area is kind of stunning. I have a couple of other campers here. Overnight, when we got up this morning, there were about a dozen people that were camping at this particular location. We had one that was way up underneath that mountain there, and we had a couple of campers that were on a ridge next to this mountain, And I would guess probably about 1.5 kilometers away, we had some campers that were way down in that direction. There is somebody way off in the distance. They kind of fade right into the background, so kind of hard to tell that there's anybody there, but there is a vehicle that's parked on that hill. This is a pretty nice area. We're quite impressed. And so as far as our experiments into this whole idea of boondocking, this has been our first real adventure into this, and we are loving it. What are your thoughts on our first boondocking experience?
It's amazing. I've only seen photos of these, and now I'm here. Boondocking, on the other hand, it's really nice. You know, I sit in my lazy boy and I look out the door and I see no one except for landscape. So I'm looking northwest and I see two people in brightly colored outfits. Good thing to do though out here in case you get lost, because I don't have that natural instinct. I can find my way around a city in the dark, but out here I'm afraid I'd end up in Colorado.
So compared to the other places that we've been sort of boondocking, and by that I mean, you know, we don't have power, we don't have water, we don't have
outhouses.
Sewer, but you have an outhouse. That's the closest that we got. This, we are away from everything.
And when we were in national parks or even provincial parks when without services, we had maps
Right.
of trails. No maps. If there are, I'm not finding them. But it's just, I mean, these mountains here, or hills since we came from the Canadian Rockies, look like they're not that tall, but I bet they are. Have you walked up them yet?
Maury and I have walked up there, and we walked up to there, and there's a road we walked around in behind this big hill.
The beige one?
Yeah, we walked in behind that up. I don't know, I guess we went up maybe about 1K. From what I understand, this is something like an 80K round. 50 miles.
Oh, 50 miles, 80K.
It's about 80K-ish. Big, huge area, and lots of area to camp here. You can be up here and nobody'd even know you were here in some of these areas. We have to go take a look at Maury right now.
Yeah.
This has also been nice. I don't know if we're allowed to, but we've been leaving him off leash because it's, you know, I mean, it's just kind of desert scenery for him. But this is it. He goes from his sleeping place in the house and then comes out and flops down.
Usually in the sun.
Usually in the sun. I don't know. He's taking a shady spot now. Maybe he's looking for lizards. That's another thing. There's a lot of little tiny itty bitty lizards around here.
3 inches.
Yeah.
Tiny little things. I've told him he's not allowed to catch them.
Yeah.
No pets.
So we're enjoying this.
Yes.
Yeah. I think besides the wind and the dust were about the only two things that I didn't like about it. Otherwise, we really, really enjoyed our time in that area.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really nice. The wind was the most for me. The dust didn't bother me too much, except when the wind blew it up.
Right. So 7 days later, we successfully boondocked. We headed into Wells, Nevada, and you could see the snow in the mountains. We got a little touch of snow every single day that we were there for the, I'm trying to remember, 3 days or 4 days? 3 days.
3 nights?
4 nights? 4 nights. 4 nights that we were there. We got a little bit of snow. It didn't stay on the ground, but every day we got up and we would see that there was more snow on the top of the mountains, and we really realized it was time to go. As we have mentioned, being able to go out and boondock for about 7 days seems to be a really good amount for us. And then we need to find a campground that we could, you know, get the tanks flushed and get the laundry done and get groceries. But we were immediately right back out. We decided that we wanted to go do some more boondocking. So we started heading down towards Vegas, We stayed in a parking lot in Ash
Yes.
Springs.
The place we were planning on was a Y in the road, so you had traffic on both sides.
Right.
And it looked like just a camp spot.
Yeah, we were intending to stay around Las Vegas, but honestly, we couldn't find anything. Everything was either full or way out of our budget. So we spent one night in Chloride, interesting little town, before we got back to dispersed camping, and this place was Craggy Wash camping.
Yeah. I heard about it on a couple of YouTube videos about Craggy Wash and Quartzsite and Lake Havasu.
Let me just tell you about the dent in our truck.
Yes.
I took a wrong turn, and we got into an area that we really should not have the fifth wheel at all. And trying to get out of it, the fifth wheel went into a big, huge rut, and I thought we were going to lose it. I thought it was going to tip over, but it actually came down on the tailgate, crunched the tailgate.
And we didn't even hear it.
No.
And there's no damage on the rig.
Yeah.
So we have no idea where on the front cap it hit.
Right. And this is representative of the wind. Now, this is fascinating because the panel that's on top was actually beside. Both of them got blown over, and this one got flipped right over top of the other one. And it was really windy that whole time we were there.
No, the first day.
First
Because
day was
I
nice.
went for a bike ride, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But it was windy a lot.
But really stunning scenery in this place, and the sky beautiful. Like I said, the second day we were there, very windy.
Yeah.
Hard to keep the solar panels, and this was another one that was a little bit weird. You notice this big shadow here? We would get sun from about 7:30, quarter to 8 in the morning. It would come up over the hill, and by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it had set in behind the big rock.
And why did we choose this spot? Because it was well away from other people.
Yeah.
And turns out we forgot about the solar panels.
Yeah, so I had very limited amount of time. So between the lack of sun, because we were in shade, and the wind that kept blowing the solar panels over, it was touch and go to keep the panel to keep the power station charged up.
Just as a side note, there was a camp or two you'd see on the right, and it was from Alberta.
Yeah, yeah. Let's travel down to Arizona. Nice days. You know, I mean, it stayed in around that 20-degree mark, which is pretty nice for us.
Yeah.
And then from there, we went down to High Jolly boondocking in Arizona.
Yeah, we were only a couple of days in Craggy Wash. So then another couple of days down in High Jolly, outside of Quartzsite.
We are at a dispersed campground called High Jolly. Pretty interesting place. It's pretty flat, and you really do feel like you are out in the desert. It's early November, and at midday, I am recording this at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it is already 26 degrees Celsius, which is pretty warm for November. I am really not accustomed to that, but this has been good. This is one of 5 campgrounds, dispersed camping areas in this immediate area. The area is close to a town called Quartzsite, and we haven't been into the town. We came from the north and hit these campgrounds before we got to the town. We'll probably do a day trip into the town either later today or tomorrow. We're here for 2 nights. We've had to figure out the difference between boondocking and dry camping. I know Libby already knew what the difference was. I didn't. I thought when we were staying at the places like LaSalle Lake up in BC, that was boondocking, but it really isn't. They have designated campsites. You know, there's garbage pickup. There was an outhouse available. When you are in dispersed camping, i.e. the boondocking, there's nothing here. Whatever you bring in, you have to take out. You have to be fully equipped, your water, your power, all those kinds of things. Power has been really good, and I owe an update to our power situation, which I will talk about a little bit later. Well, as mentioned, I didn't really understand the difference between dry camping and boondocking. You did. I wasn't really aware of it. I thought those earlier trips that we had done, but they didn't really count. This is what
We
the
were out in the
boondocking.
boonies.
Yeah. But it's also interesting to me that in Canada, I know we have boondocking opportunities, but they're not like this. Was it in Quartzsite that you went and picked up a little pamphlet on boondocking?
Yeah, it was actually in. Yeah, it was somewhere.
But it's really set up. I mean, this area that we're in, the area that is maintained by Bureau of Land Management and the U.S. Forest Service, fairly frequently they're expecting people to come down and camp here. No charge. Some of them do, but most of them don't.
South of Quartzsite is the long-term visitors area, and they do charge either for 6 months or 7 months or 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And every January, this is a popular place for rallies and get-togethers. So that's why, this is so formal. And so every January, there's a huge sports and RV show. Like huge. I think it quadruples the population.
Oh, you mean the one in Quartzsite?
Yeah. It's just huge. So as you can see, it's kind of spotty where people are. Apparently it is packed.
Yeah. And what I also found fascinating, you see all these little rings of rocks. People would just go in and they'd set up. And that's kind of the expectation, is once you find one of those little rings of rocks where somebody else is camped, that's where you go.
Yeah.
In some of the other areas, like where we were earlier,
Craggy Wash.
even before that, when we were up in in Utah, they really recommended that you go and find a place where other people have already camped and not just drive off into the desert and make a new campground.
Yeah, and that's because the desert, while things do grow, they grow exceptionally slow.
Yeah.
So the recovery period of after someone's traveled over it is long.
Yeah. So we have decided now, just to be clear, we are finished boondocking now until February. And that is because we found a really nice place to spend the winter in Arizona. We weren't going to be doing the snowbird thing, but we decided to give it a try to see if we liked it. So far, so good. We will have an episode coming up soon that talks about where we are and what we're doing here. But once we get back out on the road in early February, I think our intention is to do 5 to 7 days of boondocking, and then 2 to 3 days at a campground that has services.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to work on power to make sure that we can run the rig really effectively off of this, but with the 2 solar panels and the power station as it is right now, we've discovered it is no problem for us to do 7 days.
And we don't have problems with water usage because our tank holds 80, but you usually put about...
I've been putting 50 to 55 gallons in.
And we have it left over. Even with not using paper plates, I've come to the conclusion that it's just as economical to wash the plates, because we don't use up that much water, and to wash them instead of collecting more garbage, which we have to pack out.
Now, I also will mention, because I know somebody's going to be wondering, what do you do about showers? We don't.
We have wipes.
We have these big, huge jumbo wipes that we use to keep clean.
But in honesty, we haven't been in places, well, except for in July in southern Alberta, where it's been so hot that you want to shower more.
Yep.
Even then, we do the quickie.
Yep. This was us. This is our first real effort into the whole boondocking thing, and I'm really enjoying it. You?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. And you don't have neighbors
at all. Like the closest we ever had was probably a couple of hundred meters.
Was Craggy Wash.
Yeah, that was the closest we were in. Never heard them,
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us.